the roots. Pretty much they call it radical, which is any kind of root. Square root, cube root, fourth root, fifth root. That's why you got an n. So the first one says you got the nth root of a times b. And so that formula says if you got two things multiplied under a root, they can be separated and they can each have their own individual root. So if you got the nth root of a times b, that can be equal to the nth root of a times the nth root of b. N can be any number. It could be 10, it could be 20. That's just what the root is. And the same thing with division. If you got the nth root of a divided by b, then that can be split up as just the nth root of a divided by nth root of b. So that's what that formula said. Any questions on that one? Those are the only two formulas in this whole section of homework that we're about to go over. So y'all good with those, or y'all got questions about it?
If you can show us some examples, that'd
Yeah, I'm gonna go into the examples. But first, y'all good with these formulas though? Okay. So let's say the first example, you got square root of 2x squared, and you multiplying that times the square root of 6x. What you're going to do is the rule. Remember the rule? If you got two things that's under the same root, this is a square root, this is a square root, then you can put them both under the one root. So instead of having a square root of 2x to the second times square root of 6, you can make that the square root of 2x to the second times 6x. You can put it all under one square root instead of having it under individual. And we got to multiply this 2 times 6. And that gives us what? That gives us 12. Well, it's not to the second. It's going to be x to the third. This is a 1. So, the tree, if you got to take 12. What's the tree? What two numbers will give you 12? 6 and 2. What two numbers will give you 6? 3 and 2. And if I just bring this down, this is pretty much, this is going to be the square root of 3 times 2 times 2. And then you got 3 x's because you had an x to the third, right? I'm just breaking it all the way down. And so since this is a square root, that tells me that I can only pull out squares. Whatever numbers on the outside, first of all, if they don't have anything out there, it's really a 2 because that's the first root, which is square root. So if it's nothing, that stands for a square root. So all this is square root. So that means that I can only pull out doubles out of a square root. You see anything in there that are doubles? These two 2's, when they come out as just 1 2 in the front of the root. And then you got 2 x's in there. They will come out as just 1x. And then when they come out, you multiply those two things together. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a 2x in the front, and then you got the square root of whatever's left under there, which is just a 3x.
Now when you got square root, you don't have to put that 2.
Multiply the 2 times the 6, you got 12. And then x to the second times x to the 1 gave us x to the third because you got to add. And then 12, when we learn from the tree, is really 3 times 2 times 2. That's why I replaced 12 with pretty much the breakdown of it. And x to the third is 3x's. So everything that's double, because it's a square root, will come out as 1. When they come out in 2's, they turn into one of them. And it goes in the front. What about what would you say 4? If it was 4 2's, then it would have been a. You take out one set would be a 2, and another set would be a 2, and it'd be a 4 in the front. Yeah. Okay. It says, let's say we got the square root. It's still square root of 200 x to the third. It's the square root of 200 x to the third, but it's divided by the square root of 10 x to the minus 1. So this is the problem here. You got square root of 200 x to the third power divided by square root of 10 x to the minus 1. So the rule, remember the rule, you only got two rules. If you got a square root divided by a square root, you can make it one whole square root. So you can do one big square root with everything on the inside. So it's going to be 200x to the third over 10x to the minus 1. And all of that is under 1 square root. The reason why I put it like that, because you can now you can simplify it. Because you got 200 divided by 10. What does that give you? That gives you 20. And then you got x to the third.
which becomes x to the 4.
This becomes x to the fourth. Because when you do 3 minus a negative 1, that turns into positive. So, you got to break up 20. So, what two numbers give you 20?
10 and 2. So it's gonna be 5, 2, 2.
It'll be 5 times 2 times 2. And then you got 4 x's under there.
X times X times X times X.
Yeah. And so, what root is this? This is square root or what? So, you see any doubles?
That's 2.
This comes out as 1, 2. These two x's come out as 1x.
It's going to be an x squared.
That comes out as 1x. So everything that came out, you multiply times each other. So this comes 2x squared and it goes to the front. So it becomes
Squared times 5 to the square root of 5. Sorry.
in the square root of 5. This next one, you got 3 to the square root, 3 times square root of 8 minus square root of 32 plus, you got 3 square root of 72 minus square root of 75. So, you can only add a 75. You can only add a square root, like this square root of 8, you can only add that to another square root of 8. So they all got to look the same before you can put them together. Right now, they all different. So you got to break them all up. So pretty much 8 is what two numbers? 2 and 4. The 4 you can break up as how? So 8 is really 2 times 2 times 2. 3 2s and 8. Okay, what about 32? What two numbers multiply to give you 32? 4 and 8. The 4 you can break up as 2 times 2. And you already know what 8 is. It's 3 2s. So 32 is really 5 2s. And what about 72? What two numbers give you 72? 9 and 8. 9 you can break up what? How? 2 3s and 9. And 8 got 3 2s in it. And 75 is what? 5 times 15. And then how you break up 15? 5 and 3. So it's really 5 times 5 times 3. So even though it's a big number, it still only break up into 3 pieces. And so you pulling out what you need. Now, you see they got, this is not a cube root of 8. This is 3 times the square root of 8. If it looks like a cube root, it's going to have it's going to look like, it's going to have a little 3 in the corner like that. It's not going to be on the side of it. So you pulling out the doubles. So any doubles in this one? So this comes out as 1 2. If it's already a number out there, then you just multiply it times that number that's already out there. So this becomes what? 6 square root of 2. So that's what that one is. Then you pull out the doubles on this one. How many doubles in it? So this comes out as 2. This comes out as 2. And then you multiply them together, so what you got? So it's minus 4 square root of what? And you see how he's starting to look alike now. What about this one? So these 2 3s come out as 1 3. These 2 2s come out as 1 2. So when you multiply that, that's 6, but you already got something out there, yeah. So that becomes an 18, because it's already a 3 out there. Square root of 2.
3 times 3 times 2.
That's 3 times that 3 is 6 times that 3 is 18. And what about this one?
5 square root of 3.
You pull out the 2 5s. And that comes in the front, so it becomes a 5 square root of 3. So, you got everything broken down. What can you put together? You can only put a... Yeah. 6 minus 4 is what? 2 plus 18? So this becomes 20 square root of 2. Minus 5 square root of 3. not square root. The next one,